Welcome to the Living Centred podcast, a podcast all about learning together how to live lives which are centred on Jesus. Everyone lives centred on something. Our goal is to learn together how every area of our lives, everything about who we are and how we live, can be increasingly oriented around Jesus and transformed by Jesus. He invites us to a rich and satisfying life, where the good news that he truly is enough changes everything about how we relate to God, ourselves, and the world. In each episode, a different person shares about what it's looking like for them to seek to centre their life on Jesus right now. As we hear their stories, we get to learn together and to encourage one another in what it means for Jesus to be at the centre of our lives. This is a journey we are all invited to, and a conversation we all get to be a part of. Thanks for joining us.
It is my privilege to introduce today Dave, who will be sharing this week. Dave, it is a joy to see you.
Hello, it's lovely to be here. Thank you.
I wonder if you could start by just sharing a bit about yourself, like who you are and what your life looks like at this point in time.
Yeah, cool. So hello, I'm Dave. Many of you will know me, some of you I guess won't. So I have been around Oasis for around about 5 years, just over now. Doesn't time fly? And I am a teacher. That's probably one of the big things that's going to come up a lot as we talk a bit more. So I work in a school. I've been a teacher all my working life. So that comes with certain kind of understandings, I guess, about the working world that some people will find very familiar, and some people would agree with. Some people will just go, "What on earth are you on about?" But it's a strange subculture to work in. When I am not teaching, I am a massive board gamer. I'm not a very closeted nerd. So I know I like to think I hide it well, but I really don't. So if you ever want to catch me in a conversation, if you can open with some kind of board game you played recently, that is a sure way in. I am a musician. So if you've been around Oasis, you might have seen me on a Sunday playing music at the front. Music is also what I teach. So yes, that's a big part of my life as well. And I am married. Which I should probably mention, lest my wife hear this and wonder why she was not mentioned. So, yeah.
Amazing. That's such a good intro in, Dave. A full picture of something of what your life looks like, which is really
something,
good.
Yes.
I wonder, though, this is the big question I jump in with everyone each time, which is this. What does living centered on Jesus look like for you right now?
That is a big question. So I think for me, living centered on Jesus at the moment looks like relying on him for just the capacity that I need to get through my work and my day, which possibly sounds a little bit more desperate than it is. So I've recently moved schools, moved jobs into a job that requires a lot more of me than I'm used to giving. So I exited a season over the summer just gone, where kind of most of the demands that were placed upon me were demands that I felt I had the capacity to meet, and by and large, I was right. And so I was not particularly stretched, not particularly taxed, not particularly put upon in any way, and didn't really have many moments where I thought, "Oh wow, I don't really have the resources in myself to see this one through." It was cushy and it was comfortable at the time, but you know, it's not necessarily a great place to work from consistently. You know, that level of comfort has its own kind of drawbacks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And its own kind of pitfalls. But anyway, so if you can kind of contrast being on that side of the spectrum with then kind of moving to the other side of the spectrum, kind of, I guess, bypassing that sort of healthy stretch zone that that we like to think of as being the optimal place to be, bypassing that completely and going into the oh my gosh, everything is on fire zone.
Yes.
And so it's been a really tough kind of learning curve, a really steep learning curve. And yeah, I think one of the first moments in my life and in my faith where I've genuinely gone, wow, I just don't have the resources, the capacity in myself to do this, to make this work. And so living centered on Jesus at the moment for me looks like learning how to um, how to come to the end of myself and lean into Him for what He can do, which has been a process of real kind of real discovery, I think, in kind of working out what that looks like, because you don't kind of find a situation where you're stuck and then pray and then just stop trying and going, okay, God, you do it, I give up, because that's just not how it works. Like I can't
Yeah.
just stand there and just do nothing and just go, okay, God, intervene.
Yeah.
And so working out how to keep trying and keep giving of my own effort whilst leaning into God's, and whilst acknowledging that my own effort, whilst kind of required, is not sufficient, and seeing Him through me and apart from me and through other people completely outside of the context kind of make up the difference, has been something that has been amazing to see and amazing to learn. It's something I'm still definitely learning. I've by no means got this one down. It's a constant reminder and a constant kind of um, struggle to keep going, oh yeah, God, I need to lean into you in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that I think is probably the main way that Jesus has been
Yeah.
in the center of everything recently.
It's so helpful, Dave. And I think something I'm sure everyone has or is or will kind of encounter. I know for me, I've
Yeah,
known many moments in my life where I think, yep, definitely not enough here. I think probably most of my life, I just think, yep, definitely not enough here. And finding that way of, okay, I bring with what I've got, and God, what are you going to then do? Because I need you to take up the slack here. I can't do it. All I've got is the picnic. Can you come and multiply it? That's what
yeah,
I
for sure.
find.
Yeah.
I guess my question then is like, what is helping you kind of live that way then? What are the things that you're doing that just help you then just stay centered on Jesus, saying, come and be all I need as I rely on you?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things. I'm a big external processor. And so for me, having people around me who I can kind of offload to, be vulnerable with, but also have them pray with and for me, is really important. I'm one of those people that struggles to kind of sustainedly and extendedly pray by myself. It's something I would love to kind of grow in. But what that means for me is actually it's usually really helpful to have other people around me. So that sometimes looks like my wife. That sometimes looks like my small group. That sometimes looks like conversations with people on a Sunday, or just catching up with folks in the week. But yeah, having people around me who I can just speak to, who can speak wisdom into me, who can remind me sometimes when I'm not leaning into Jesus. Oh, have you tried leaning into Jesus
Really
in this
good.
situation? And I'll go, oh no, that thing that God has been teaching me that I've forgotten already.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of that's been really important. But I think the second thing is also um, quick prayers in the moment. Some people call them breath prayers, just like moments where you just quickly fire one off. And I think that does a couple of things for me. First of all, I think the act of asking for help is an important one. It's one that kind of reminds us that we need it. And that there are many people more qualified and theologically aware than I, who have kind of spoken at length about how, we don't pray because God needs to hear what we want. He knows what we want. We pray because actually it does something in us. And I think linked with that, it reminds me of my posture in the whole situation. When I'm praying, I'm going, I can't do it. I'm acknowledging my deficiency. I'm asking for help, not because I think it might be nice, but because I really, really need it. And so that prayer is both a prayer, a request for help, but it's also perspective shaping and perspective defining for me as I pray it.
It's really helpful, Dave. I think, I think all of us knowing that sense of we just need others. We're not going to do this life by ourselves. I think is so helpful, and that the kind of quick prayers, but actually those moments that just in themselves center us of just that breath prayer. Which, if you've not heard of it, we can put some links in the notes of different examples of this. But that reality of just coming and just as we breathe in and breathe out, of just saying in my exhale, I'm saying, God, I just can't do this. And then inhale, I often then breathing in like, God, I receive everything you are for me. I think it's just really helpful. I guess my next question on that is then, what are you discovering through that season?
I think above all else, I'm discovering that he is faithful. I say discovering, but I think discovering in a personal, experiential way, because we know about the faithfulness of God, and it's something that kind of we're presented with often in church, and something that we acknowledge in a mental way, and I don't mean to diminish that, because it's important to kind of theologically wrestle with it and grasp with the faithfulness of God. But I think I'm learning afresh how he is faithful in my situation and in my circumstance. And I guess also linked with that he is interested in my circumstance, that it's not something that irritates God or is something that he deems beneath himself to enter into my world and to help me with my troubles, whatever they may be. But that actually he willingly he willingly enters into that situation. We're just as we're recording this, we're just obviously exiting the season where we celebrate Jesus willingly entering into humanity, and I think there's a sense in which actually this has been a fresh revelation of actually daily God willingly entering into my situation, my circumstance, my life, and helping me deal with whatever it is that I'm dealing with.
It's so good, Dave. So good. It's just doing my heart good just hearing it. I'm like, oh, this is good. I hope listeners, as you're hearing this, it's doing your heart good too. But here you go then. Final question. So that's the stuff you're discovering. How are you changing?
I am very bad at questions like this. I never really notice the change until someone points it out to me, and then I go, oh yeah. But I think one of the main ways in which I'm changing is I'm becoming quicker to turn to God immediately, rather than as a last resort. I think in my previous kind of it will just in previous life, I think rather than being a first response, prayer would have been a last resort. It would have been kind of, well, okay, I'm presented with this thing. I could try this. I could try this. I could try this. Ooh, none of them have worked. Okay, I guess I'll pray. Whereas actually learning to first and foremost go, right, God, before I try anything, Jesus, come and be in this situation. Come and take center stage. Let's not try plans A, B, C, D, E, whatever. Let's just go straight to what plan you have and do that. And it's not something that I do consistently. It's not something that I do all the time. But I think that one of the biggest revelations for me, and one of the ways in which I believe myself to be changing over the last few months of kind of living with this, is just this awareness that actually the quicker you invite God into the situation, the the quicker kind of everything kind of starts to orient around what he's doing, and his sustenance just becomes a part of everything that's going on, which has been, really exciting.
It sounds phenomenal. I used that word correctly, I think. I think it sounds...
Oh, thank you.
I think the way we're meant to live. And I think, I look forward to hearing how this continues to develop. I think it just sounds really exciting. Thank you so much for sharing, Dave.
Thank you.
I think for me, I'm going to be considering over this coming week, again, just those breath prayers. I think it's, again, something that I know about, but I don't always do. And I think just that taking the moments throughout my day to just say, yep, in this moment, I'm just going to take, just as I'm breathing, take a moment just to pray, of just allowing you, Jesus, to come and take center place again. Thank you. I think that's going to do my heart good. But how about you, my listening friends? What is it that you're going to be considering out of all that Dave has so richly shared with us? Lastly, then, I want to thank you for listening, and I pray you would know more of the wonder of living centered on Jesus this coming week. Goodbye, my friends.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of the Living Centered podcast. New episodes are released every Monday, and if you enjoyed this episode, please do like and subscribe on your chosen podcast provider to receive them direct each week. Living Centered is produced by the team at Oasis Church in Birmingham, UK, and you can find out more and get in touch with the team via theoasischurch.com.